Editing YouTube videos can be a really long process, a big time suck, right? And I think what we really need to talk about if you want to edit your videos quicker is how to get rid of the trash a lot more quickly. Okay, first thing that could take a lot of your time up is if there's a lot of mess ups in your message, if your message isn't clear, if you don't get right from one point to the next, right? That can just make it so you have a lot of mess ups in your video when you're filming and that you just don't know how to get to the point, right? Right now I'm rambling a little bit, right? So that could take a little bit more time in editing. So here's a quick thing to keep in mind. You can save a ton of time in the editing room just by planning out your videos a little bit more. So this could come down to maybe you need to script every single word out that you're gonna say. But for me, I like to just put bullet points so I have a clear understanding of what it is that I'm gonna be talking about. So I know that I'm moving the message forward and that I'm not just talking about things that don't really have anything to do with the main point of the video and the individual bullet points within it. That'll also save me a lot of time in the editing room later if I can go back to a note that I wrote with those bullet points and I can say, okay, well, is there things in here that I talked about that don't really make sense? How can I get rid of them, right? And this can be for any type of a video. This isn't just ones where you're talking. This could be anything where maybe you've got, completely action type video. And you can ask yourself, what's the main point of this video? What are the pieces that are gonna move it forward? What are the highlights that have to stay and when that have to go? One other thing I'll do while I'm filming is keep mental notes and say to myself, okay, where were the mess ups? Where were the things that I did good, right? And the quicker you can get to the edit or maybe write down those notes and know those things or have them written down, now you can just immediately say, okay, this stays, this goes, and you'll have a much better understanding of what needs to be done. And then you don't have to spend a ton of time thinking about that in the editing room. A great example would be right now, there's a lawnmower behind me making lots of noise. Hopefully you can hear me. If you can't, that's okay. I'm putting this as a perfect example. This is something to get rid of in my video. Mental note. Okay, next big tip is whenever you're doing a video where you're doing multiple takes, whether you messed up saying something and you had to redo it, or action shot and you had to redo it, usually in my experience, the last take is the best take. So I'll go right to the last take and say to myself, okay, cool, let's check this one out. Does it look good? Is it good enough? Cool. Put it in, move on. A lot of times it can be easy to spend just hours saying, well, do I like this one or this one better? Just ask yourself, does this one get the point across clearly? Is it good enough? Boom, you can move on, and then you don't have to spend hours deciding between which clip you want to use. That can just take time and time and time and time over and over and over again from you. And if you just start approaching your editing process thinking this way, let's just go to the last one and see how that looks, that'll save you a bunch of time. And you might be wondering, how do I go about that? Well, that ties in with the next tip. Okay, before I get into the next tip, talking about the way to save time in the actual editing room with the really cool hack I have for you, one other thing on the scripting side of things is thinking about your scripting, not just what you're talking, but the shots that you're gonna need, right? Because if you don't have that in mind ahead of time, you could go into your filming session not really knowing exactly what shots you need, and now you don't have a shot you need, and you gotta try to figure out another one that'll fit that role. Or maybe you'll, have more shots than what you need, or you have all this extra footage that isn't ever gonna be used, and you gotta take the time to go through it. A good rule of thumb I always give people is for every hour of footage, you got 2 hours at least of editing, even if you're really quick. So just think about that. If you got another 2-3 minutes of video, that's gonna take you another 4-6 minutes just to go through that footage in the editing room. So in some instances, it's better to just not even have that footage at all. Okay, so here's one of my biggest hacks for this. If you don't have the waveforms turned on for the audio of whoever's speaking, or if there's action shots, this is a good way to do this. You can go ahead and look at the waveforms and see where are there dead spots, and for sure that's where the end of a clip is, or where a mess up happened, right? So make sure that's turned on, turn up, and look at those waveforms, and you can really quickly go through the video and find out what's going on as far as when the dead spots are, so you can just say, okay, this is the end of the clip. I can look at this and see what's happening. Side note, check out this turtle. Okay, that was off the subject matter. Maybe that needs to get cut in the editing room, but we'll leave it in because it's kind of fun. So this hack can really tie in with the last hack that I gave you. You can look at your waveforms and you see a whole bunch of chunks where the audio comes up and then all of a sudden it goes down. That's you probably taking multiple takes trying to say something, right? Well, knowing this, you can go through each of those chunks where you see the audio is up, go to the last one. You know that's probably your last most successful take, and that's the one you'll use. Go right to that one. You could save a bunch of time. Just don't even bother going through the other ones. Go right to the last one, see if it's good, and if it's good, roll with that one. One other big tip I got for you while doing your filming process that'll save you hours of time is if you're messing up a sentence. Let's say, you know, I'm trying to say, this is how we're gonna run to the park, and I keep saying, this is how we're going to walk, oh dang it, this is how we're gonna walk to the, and you keep bumbling your words. Don't keep trying to say the whole sentence multiple times. It's gonna take you a lot of time, both in editing, because now you have to go through all those mess ups, and in your filming. So what you can do is just say the first part of the sentence, go ahead and just stop, and then say the second part of the sentence. So if I wanna say what we're gonna do is run to the park, and I keep messing that up saying what we're gonna do is walk, oh, I keep messing it up. All I'm gonna do is say, run to the park. I already got the what we're gonna do part right, and in editing, I can easily take those two clips and put them together. Okay, final thing that will save you a ton of time, both with filming and editing, is getting practice doing it multiple times. And a really good way to get good at the planning and editing side of things and the filming side of things is in this YouTube video right here. Check that video out. It'll show you how I filmed 3 years worth of YouTube content in 30 days. It saved me a ton of time with filming, planning, and editing, and I know it'll do the same for you. If this video helped, click the subscribe button and the bell icon to catch the newest videos, and I'll see you in that video next.